Hey there, it's Christian from 7 Gaming Network, and we stand at the threshold. I have been grinding interminably for what seems like a very long time to reach this moment, which I am going to record, because I am about to get my first 6-star ranked character. I've been doing a lot of grinding, and we stand at the threshold. So I'm going to stick these characters in here now, and this is going to allow us to upgrade Frostskin's rank. He's now going to become a 5-star, and now of course we have lots and lots, enough for us to be able to upgrade my Executioner. So let me just put that down. Here we go. There they all are. Oh, this is a lovely moment. I've been waiting for this moment for a little while now. In fact, it's 14 days since I posted the video that I was about to start Project Executioner. Now let me just do this, and then I'll talk about why I chose Executioner and how I have been and going to be using him. Here we go, guys. 6 stars. Oh, that feel good. Oh, that feel really good. I've been waiting to do that for a little while, looking forward to this moment. Okay, so obviously he's back to level 1, so we'll be starting that whole exciting grind to get him up to level 60. So yes, this is my first level 60, and just passing comment on the experience. It was quite onerous. Now, I did lots of other things along the way. I completed challenges, I made lots of money and bought lots of things, but it is a massive investment to get a character up to level 60. It really is tough. So I'm not looking forward actually to the grind of hitting it again, interestingly enough. Although I am champing at the bit to have more characters at this sort of level, because I know what a difference it's going to make. So kind of mixed feelings over it, and I think I'll probably be able to do it a lot faster now, and that's the reason why I chose Executioner to be my first level 60 character. Now, I've been using Executioner to solo loads of stuff, and then just have 3 training characters along with him. That's worked pretty well. However, I haven't been able to do as high as I would have liked. So on this 5-star, so level 50 rank, in fact the campaign stage level that I've been having to focus on actually has been the Deadlands. Now this is sort of generally around about 7,500 XP per character per mission run, which has been pretty good. Of course, you can do the old shield stage, you get a little bit more money, or I'm doing the boots and getting a little bit more XP. I have tried doing the Valdemar Strait levels and doing those, but unfortunately that poisons and sort of debuffs that are going on has made it very difficult for Executioner for me to solo these ones. I'd rather do it because the gear is a bit better, and I know the XP would have been down a little bit, which then made me think, well, let's try Godfrey's Crossing. But again, this one has quite a lot of sort of stun or sleep effects. And of course that's no good when you're using Executioner. If you don't know how Executioner works, guys, there's loads of great videos out there. Go and check one quickly, because if you were looking for a character to help you level up and get to the sort of towards the end game content more quickly, like that's going to be the one. Now I'm kind of on the edge here of getting these last couple unlocked. I must admit, this Hallowed Halls is being a bit of a struggle, but I'll get there now with a level 60 character. I'm sure Executioner is going to carry me through. So when it comes to the sort of strategy here, I know Executioner is not going to be a long time arena sort of champion that I'll be using in my team and all those kind of things. And the the temptation to think about doing characters, more like KL would actually have been a good one to get to level 60. My Crimson Helm, which has been a real all-star in just about everything I've used her in, real temptation to get her to level 60. But actually this grind to get a character to level 60 has been difficult enough that it's made me realise I have to have a character who can do those top level, most difficult campaign missions in order to get my other characters leveled up more quickly and be able to get those other level 60s. And so I've had no choice really but to press into do an Executioner. I can get slightly better gear on him, of course, as you can see, but it's been quite hard to grind Valdemar Strait to get better life gear. So that's been that's been quite challenging to get this to get to this stage, to get it done, and now I'm going to move on to kind of what to do next, really, because that's Project Executioner more or less done. I'll obviously be using him a lot to get him up to level 60 and do the rest of my XP grinding, but I've had real problems with my arena team. I found it particularly challenging. Let me just check the market, see if there's anything nice in there. Just a mystery shard. I tend to always buy those because you could get rares out of them. Let me just accept my challenge or get my reward for that, which is 50,000 silver. Great, okay. Well, I guess it's vaguely helpful. So the next thing, my arena team. I have been having real problems with my arena team. So the team that I have been using is, look at that, I'm silver 1. I've been real struggling now. Now the team that I have been using pretty much exclusively has been this one. I've been sort of swapping in and out, having the Arcanist lead because she gives 25% defense. But actually I've had some real problems, and I kind of identified, I think, where the issues are. Now, speed, of course, is fundamentally important, and actually, when I felt like I was being more successful, I was using a faster team. I have since been using this slower team and focusing a bit more on staying around in the battle, since that's what Crimson Helm is very good at doing with this amazing buff that she sticks on the On Guard, which has got the Revive on Death and a 60% increase in defense. And I decided to go with Arcanist to be the support character in my team because she's got that very decent continuous heal buff, and also she increases the attack and critical rate on the team. So really good utility. She's got a crappy attack. It's really nice when the sleep occasionally hits. But frankly, when I'm using Crimson Helm, who's got random attacks, when I've got Durang, who's got random attacks, and when I've got KL, who's using AoEs, that sleep, it doesn't stay on them for very long. So I'm getting to the point now where it's time, I think, for me to pick a new support character to really work on for this team. I think Arcanist I will still probably use in things like my clan battles. The Aura was probably what clinched it for me in terms of picking her, thinking that upping that defense by 25%, but I'll be quite frank, it's no real difference to having 15% extra hit points on the team, really, from KL leading. So I've been changing either of those up, and neither of them have really made a difference. So I think I can change up from Arcanist. Now I've got a few options as to what I then pick for support, and it'd be really interesting to see what you guys think I could lean towards. So here's a few options I've got. So we've got Mystic Hand. Now Mystic Hand is really great in some of the dungeons, especially. His A1 is fairly unexciting, a 30% chance of blocking buffs. Turn the Tide is quite a bit more interesting, stealing 2 random buffs from a target. I feel like it's becoming a little bit more of a character who'd be good against specific teams when you're identifying those teams that are going to be trying to apply those big useful buffs. Obviously Mystic Hand really jumps up in importance then, but Soul Link is pretty good. I think this is, if you're looking out of a support character, you're kind of looking for either buffing type elements, or healing, or both, if you can. And Mystic Hand will do a really nice heal across the whole team. So you'll up the ally with the lowest hit points by 25% of the hit points, and then equalise the HP levels of all allies, which that can be a sort of a double-edged sword, in the sense that it could actually bring some characters' hit points down. Now I think he's a good character, but I think he's probably more for usage in things like dungeons. However, that Soul Link is strong, and Turn the Tide could be very, very good. Now I have I've got a few other options. My newest epic that I drew was Frostbringer. Now see what you make of this one, guys. The Cones of Cold A1 attack is pretty meh. 2 times at random, well that's alright actually, 2 times. 15% chance of 100% heal reduction debuff. Heal reduction debuff, it doesn't feel like that's really very good in Arena. Great, of course, in dungeons and mob and clan bosses. I said mob bosses then, but I'm really not sure that that's all that great in Arena. And what's a bit frustrating then is that Snow Flurry places a 60% decreased defense debuff for 2 turns on 3 times at random. Really nice. If the target has a heal reduction debuff, so. That's pretty tough. If I was using another character, maybe I was using Bone Knight regularly, because he is able to apply heal reduction. She'd be really good. So why am I even considering and talking about this character? Because Arctic Winds. I'll obviously ascend her. 30% increased speed. Well, that's really, really good. And 50% increased attack buff on all allies for 2 turns. And I'll get that down to a 4-turn turnaround. Now, that's really very good, increasing the speed of the whole team and increasing their attack. This is a character who is bringing the buffing side to the team. Now, she will be an upgrade over Arcanist, because increasing the attack and increasing the speed of the team, she increases the attack by another 25% over what Arcanist can, and that 30% increase in speed, well, speed is so important in Arena, and that's, like I said, one of the things that my team has just been lacking in a little bit, although Arcanist herself, conversely, is very fast. So I'll be making Frostbringer very fast if I'm going to be using her, so that we can start straight away without Arctic Winds. And it's only 1 tome to get that cooldown down by 1. So this is a character who's got 1 brilliant ability, and then, well, if you get this off, I mean, it's going to be really, really strong, but I can't rely on those. So what are my other options? Well, I do have Apothecary. Now, you might be sort of screaming at me, why on earth aren't you using Apothecary? Like, that's like a blindingly obvious character to be using, because they're just so very good, and that's what everyone's shouting at me. I can't even find him at the moment. Where is he? Here he is. Now, the thing that's given me sort of a little bit of a pause in terms of thinking about, well, hang on a second, what should I do? Apothecary 3 times at random, great, A1, like a big heal, single target heal. Now, if that keeps Kale alive, that's very good. Happy with that. And if it keeps Crimson Helm alive, well, she's normally around for a long time anyway, so a big heal on her is going to make her particularly difficult to take down. But she often ends up being there by herself. So then really it's about this increase in speed. It's a 30% increase. Well, that's also what Frostbringer does. And we haven't got any attack bonus boost from Apothecary. We've got the big heal. So I feel like the difference between these guys, because I mean this is a 3 times at random versus a 2 times at random on Frostbringer, but with that cool additional very helpful effect, and of course a really banging then secondary effect if she can get that 60% decreased defense. So here we're looking at a really nice spot heal plus 30% speed, or we go with Frostbringer and we have 30% speed and big attack, and then potentially that sort of combination of heal reduction and really nice debuff with the 60%. So you can see these don't seem to be bad options to me. They both seem really strong, Frostbringer and Apothecary. Now, the things that might sway it is the fact that Apothecary is only a rare, and that Frostbringer is an epic, and so the cost of the tomes is going to be, well, considerably different. And I feel like in terms of the tomes, well, I mean, realistically, that boon of speed, you've got to spend 2 on that. Soothing Chant, increasing that heal up to 50%, which can be critical, is pretty good. But I mean, I'm going to have to invest those as well, really, to get the most out of the character. And this one, yeah, whatever. Not really too fussed. It's a bit of extra damage. Apothecary's not there for damage; he's there for support. Frostbringer, of course, is going to cost me a little bit more. Adriel. There's Frostbringer. We'll talk about Adriel next. Is of course going to cost me a little bit more in tomes. Only 1 on the main ability that I'm most interested in. After that, like, do I really want to do these? I think I probably would think about this one, but sadly the buff debuff chance is only really getting anything decent in that level 5 and level 6. I'm not going to spend 6 tomes on Frostbringer at this stage in the game. I'm going to be spending those tomes on my legendaries, you know. So then we can talk about Adriel and chuck her in the mix. Now, she's got a crap A1, so it's not even worth talking about. However, she has got a pretty decent heal. All allies by 20% of max hit points and 30% reflect damage, which is really cool when, you know, I've got Crimson Helm, who's got provoke effect. Do really like that. And of course, reflecting damage, well, it's just upping the DPS of the team. Now, I sort of feel it's not in any way the same as plus 50% attack that Frostbringer would give us, but hey, that's still extra bit of damage. That's still increasing our DPS. And then of course we've got Blinding Flash. Now this is kind of counteracting, I think, really the 50% increase attack, in the sense that this is doing a 50% decrease attack, meaning that we're just going to be around for so much longer because we're going to be debuffing that team's attacking ability. Now, Adriel is, I mean, this is strong. It's attacking all enemies, and it is an attack as well. It's not just making them decrease their attack. And it's going to go off. Obviously, we'll make a critical rate really nice and high and make sure that that goes off. So this, she also feels like a possibility. The difficulty there again is that she is also an epic, and that is going to cost me so much more in those tomes. I'd really like to have some feedback from you guys on what you think in terms of picking a rare to upgrade over an epic to upgrade or a legendary to upgrade, because of the cost of those tomes, the relative value, and how much harder it is to get hold of them unless you're willing to spend some bucks. So I've got some really interesting decisions. Of course, I do have Spirit Host. I mean, she's got a plus 50% increase attack. She's got the additional extra bit of speed if you use that, and of course she's got the really nice remove all debuffs. But actually, I find that whilst that 50% is really good, I can do that with Frostbringer, and I've also got better attacks around Frostbringer and the extra speed, which is something that Spirit Host doesn't really bring, because 10% is not 30%. And let's face it, a lot of arena battles don't last much longer than 3 or 4 rounds, and so the fact that this is always going to be there for the 10%, or that if you're just having Frostbringers for 2 turns, these Arctic Winds, like, it just feels like that's no real consideration. Frostbringer with those Arctic Winds is really, really powerful. So lots of choices here, Garen, and I've also got to think about Jarang. Now, I don't know if you've got Jarang, and in my last video I sort of talked warmly about him, but I'm still not sure on this character. I feel like this is a character that to get the most out of, his Talons is his best ability, and I think to really get the most out of it, you've got to invest the tomes. And he's another rare epic character. Now, I have Talons is massive. It does loads of damage, so it's great if there's one character left. This really good chance of then placing that decrease attack and decrease defense. I mean, it seems so good, but in actuality, the amount of times that I can even apply those debuffs, and obviously sometimes they don't land. 50% of the time they don't land. The amount of times that it feels like I really get the most out of it then. If I was running a 5-man team, I feel like Durang would be good. But in a 4-man team, I start feeling like I'm missing out on some DPS by applying those Talons when I do. I feel like I want my support characters to do this, and then I want 2 other attack characters. Now, if I was using Durang, and I was doing like a full attack team, maybe I had a really fast support to speed it up, and then I had 3 other attack characters. Well, I think Durang would be really good then. But using Crimson Helm and having more of a defensive feel, I think means that Durang just isn't dishing out the DPS as much as I need him to. Now, KL puts the damage out. He's brilliant. I'm not going to take KL out. He is fantastic. Single target attack, disintegrate, debuffs, and of course the massive acid rain. He's going to stay in there. But I do need to think about who I'm going to have as another attack character to, I think, challenge Durang. And the one I'm leaning towards is another epic that I managed to pick up, which I sort of mentioned briefly last time, but it's Knight Errant. Because this seems very, very strong. His Death Warrant, Ascended Skill, 60% chance of placing a 25% weaken debuff for 2 turns. Well, this is the first thing he's going to do, of course. And it's increased by 75% if the champion has full hit points. So it's doing massive damage. At sort of an extra 75% of damage if you can get him attacking quickly, because he's faster than the others, is really great. And then sticking the weaken on means that then this sort of 1-2 punch of his Death Warrant followed by Mordhau, which has 60% chance of placing a stun debuff as well by itself, but it also resets cooldowns on each of his skills if it's killed. So the Death Warrant kind of signs the Death Warrant, and then that Mordhau delivers the sort of the executioner's blow, because you've also got that weaken, which makes the Mordhau much more likely to kill that character off. And if I can get the timing right with KL, then it should be fairly easy to get Mordhau to always go off. And so for Knight Errant on his turns, he's just going to be able to Death Warrant followed by Mordhau, followed by Death Warrant, followed by Mordhau, which will be a very, very slick way to finish off a team. And of course, even if Mordhau doesn't strike and doesn't kill, then it's got a very good chance of hitting a stun, and at least that's taking that character out for that next turn. He is probably the one I'm going to work on and get up to level 50 and see if he's really doing the business. I have not been sure what to do with this. I've got to retaliate on, largely because of that A1 being so good with the leech debuff. There's not many characters have leech debuff, and I think he's definitely going to be my next sort of attack project. But the support project, I mean, let me know what you think, because I would be really interested to hear your thoughts on it. My guess is many of you are going to pick Apothecary, but what do you think of Frostbringer? Is she worth it? Is she worthy of that other spot, or could Adriel cut the mustard? Oh dear! Right, this is the thing with this game. This is what we love about this game. There are so many characters that feel like they've got real value, that could be really good. This is the fun, this is the excitement of it, and this is why I'm very pleased I've got my executioner all the way up to 6 stars, so I can start leveling up these characters even more quickly. Anyway, until next time, gang, keep enjoying your gaming.